Hello, humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. Karma comes to collect. Karl Jobst. Apollo Legends Karma comes to collect. Guys, usually my videos are lighthearted. You know, we clown on fools over here. We clown on people that do stupid things, right? And we have fun. We really do have fun. I would never do it on somebody that I would know for a fact was going through struggles. Especially the kind of struggles that Apollo Legend was having, no matter what he was doing, right? Like, for example, I'll give you an example. Somebody that I don't make fun of is Kanye West, right? Because he's having struggles, mental struggles. And I liked his early music, right? That's just one example. But if I knew somebody was having the kind of troubles that Apollo was having, I wouldn't make content on them. You know, YouTube is a place where there's no honor among thieves whatsoever. You know, people lose their morality for views. They really do, right? It's all about views. When people talk about YouTube, probably the most disgusting thing here is everybody measures each other's character by the amount of views that they get. And it's absolute horse dung, right? You can get a lot of views by making some pretty messed up videos. Right? You can make a lot of views just by, doing some really dumb things. You can get a lot of views by creating very controversial content that's on the edge, right? So views aren't everything, right? There's people that get more views than you that watch other people's videos, right? That are already made. They watch music videos and they get views that way. Oh, I'm going to react to the most popular song right now. And life isn't about videos. Real life is not about that. And people lose their morality here on YouTube where they will farm their friends for content. Their so-called friends. These are fair weather friends, right? They don't know them in real life. And if they're worth, 1 million views, they will farm them. They sure will. And where are Karl supporters at? Right? The narrative that Karl created here is another master omission class, because the two people that were named, his boys that were named by Apollo, are nowhere in his list, right? On the list that he put out there of all the contributing factors, though he only got one thing wrong, right? He only got one thing wrong, and that's why he should have been found innocent, because of course nobody connect those dots, right? But nowhere in this list is Dark Viper or Easyscapes. They're not on there. His boys are not on there. But Billy Mitchell is. Nowhere in this list is that he was thinking about making a downfall of Apollo Legends video. Right? The only one of these fools that I can give some sort of credit is this guy right here. Because he came out and said it, right? Like, this is why I was in this video. And he addressed it, right? He didn't hide his face, right? At least he had a pair of balls, unlike this guy right here. Oh, I don't have a face for camera right now. When I'm not talking about Mudahar, I'm talking about Karl Jobst, who didn't want to show his face on camera because, coward, in my opinion. Absolute coward. Right? If you ask for money, you had got no problem showing up, promoting his products, not a problem. Going on Camelot, not a problem. Right? But when it comes to Face the Music, he can't be on camera. Right? It's too much for him. Jesus Christ. And then you got this guy over here. Right? I'm not going to play the video because I don't want to get struck. But he went through all the things that Apollo had done wrong. And I'm not saying that those things were not wrong. Right? And on top of all the things included in that was that he, there was some missing money from his GoFundMe, and he was claiming that nobody had gotten their refunds. And then it turns out they did. And then he made a little thing here. Right? Not another video that got, that many views. And he did it after this. This is where the morality of YouTube and all these fools, I question, right? If you knew this guy had these kind of struggles, so much so that you put it on your video, right? Last year, I came really close to what he eventually did. It's right there. It's on the video. Now, what kind of morality do you have, let me ask you guys, when you know that a person is saying things like this and you still dump on them? Because it's more important for you to put out your message out there, for you to be clear about things, to get it off your chest, yada, yada. The narcissism of all these fools, you know what? I have no respect for any of these fools. Maybe for this one a little bit, the dark viper that showed his face, right? But this fool right here, nah, man. That's not having balls, dude. And I don't care if he gets mad at me. Nah. If somebody's going through this struggle, what you need to do is talk to him, not farm him for content. Screw what you feel. Screw getting it straight. This guy even, says that he was one of the inspirations for him to getting into this kind of stuff, right? And yeah, if you're in that kind of state, if you're having these kind of troubles, you're going to do a lot of stupid things. But the number one thing is not to make content. The number one thing is not to farm this guy's mental health for views. And from what I gather, right, these guys were part of that community, a community that I guess Apollo was very important in creating. And Karl Jobst inserted himself in the view of a lot of people in order to farm some of that community away, and then he became successful, right? And then he does cover for these guys because when he comes out with this story, it's all about Billy Mitchell, right? Nowhere, these guys aren't blowing up for what happened to the poor man, the guys that were actually named by him, right? The guys that he put on his note are nowhere to be found in Karl Jobst's description of the events in his list. Those are his boys. Let me ask you, Karl, where are your boys now? Where is the avalanche of support for you? Right? Are these dudes getting together, making a podcast for you? Are they going to do a fundraiser for you in order to pay all your legal fees? How's this turning out for you? This guy's finding out right now that karma comes to collect. Not a set of balls between anybody here. Right? The real shame here is that poor young man's life ended terribly. And even though he was going through some struggles, Karl was thinking about making a video. This guy made a video. That other guy was making videos. It's a shame, man. It's a shame that this all had to happen. But then after all that, right, this guy, somehow Karl Jobst forgot about all these things that we're finding out now that he well knew back then, and we all know that. Right? He knew about this video because he contributed to it. And then he tried to wash his hands. Well, no, I just gave him some this and that and the other. I had no other. You were planning to make the same kind of video, number one. Number two, you saw that video. And if you didn't agree with it, you should have said, dude, hey, you put that on there? Is this guy really that far gone? I don't think, take my name off this. I can't sign off on this. You're farming guy that got that close to doing it. That's what you're doing. He had no problem putting his name on that. Right? He's still defending that. No, I just gave him some information. Another master omission class here. I mean, this is really some stuff that should come back to haunt him. At one point, I said, Billy Mitchell, give him some, think about his family, whatever. Nah, brah. You need to take it raw. No Vaseline. Grab your ankles and take it all. There's not a single pair of balls here that I can see. All right, humans, I will catch you on the next one. Take care.